Alrighty boys, over here on the PC, as you can see with the latest 12.5 patch, you see there's now a new tab in the settings called Post Effects, which enables some pretty interesting little visual cues that actually crispen up the graphics quite a bit, and most importantly brighten up a lot of those dark areas so you can actually see people creep-crapping around inside of a warehouse and factory and shit like that. But the best way to adjust these settings is actually on the fly in-game, so we're going to go ahead and close out of this for now, and I'm going to show you guys how to adjust it in-game, as well as the personal settings that I use and why. Alrighty guys, as you can see, I'm in a little offline raid here, no scabs or AI or anything like that. Just want to go over the graphic settings with you guys, so let's press escape real quick, go to the settings down here. And, you know what, let's full screen this so you can actually see what the fuck I'm doing. So there's now this new tab, Post Effects, and if you hit Visualize, you can actually see what's on screen and adjust things on the fly. So this is without Post Effects enabled. As you see, everything's a lot darker. Also, like that crate right in front of me down there isn't as crisp and shit like that. Also, the textures on the knife in hand is a lot better. The scratches on the blade look a lot better and stuff. Granted, the stream is only in 720. My monitor's at 1440, but, you know, for stream, I usually rock 1720 because my graphics card, despite being a 2060 Super, just doesn't live up to what it should be as far as Streamlabs OBS. But anyway, brightness, I leave it at about 30. The reason for that is you can crank it up more and it looks okay indoors like this, but as soon as you get outside, the sun kind of whitewashes everything and it looks a little bit too much. Saturation, that has to do with a lot of your colors and shit. If you have it down here, everything just looks really grainy, really dingy. So I usually leave it at about between plus 10 and plus 15. We'll leave it right there at plus 13. Clarity, I like to leave this cranked up pretty well because it adds a lot of sharpness to the textures and whatnot. Certain areas it's really not that noticeable, but again, other areas you will definitely notice. So colorfulness at 0, this is the stock colors of the game engine. But if you come up here, it almost looks like Fortnite. It's just way too vibrant and colorful for this game. And I try and keep things as true to the original design of the game as possible. So I try and leave it around, you know, 30 or so. Yeah. Luma Sharpen. Now what this does is this enhances the... It's almost like, think of it like exposure in photography. It gives you more brightness, but it's also giving a lot more ambient light. So, I mean, obviously there's no ray tracing on this game or anything like that, but when you have the Luma Sharpen, it definitely lets a lot of the environments get whitewashed in the daylight. If you're doing a night raid, it could probably help you see enemies hiding in the bushes and shit like that. But as for the majority of us day raiding most of the time, I would just leave that between 30 and 40. Adaptive Sharpen, I leave this dead center at 50. What this does is crispens everything up a little bit. As you can see, the serrations on that knife get a little bit sharper and whatnot. I think having it at 50 is a nice, happy medium to add a little bit of detail to the environments without actually suffering too much. Now, color grading. I've messed around with a lot of these. Some people say to use Zabid and shit like that. Honestly, all these do is add some kind of a gradient or some kind of a color manipulation, and none of them really look good, and they don't make the game look natural, and they just don't make it look usable to me. So I would just leave that off. And because it's off, intensity doesn't matter at all because, well, there's none set. And then Colorblind Mode, that's really cool. They added that for our colorblind brethren out there, but I'm not, so I just leave it at none. Let's go ahead and apply that, and let's walk outside a little bit so you can get a visualization for what it's like out there in the bright, so to speak. All right, Post Effects, Visualize. So out here you can see it's much brighter, but the main thing is with all these effects, I can see it a lot better on my monitor because the resolution's a lot better, and you know, the monitor's right there in front of me. It's not being streamed and then, you know, uploaded to YouTube and all this other stuff. But you'll have to take my word for it, boys. When you enable Post Effects, all that sharpening and colorfulness actually makes not only things way off in the distance, like the two silo towers out there, I can see those a lot better. In fact, if there was a sniper scav on top of, say, for example, up there, I might actually be able to get a shot off. Granted, with bullet drop and everything, it'd be a real Chris Kyle shot, but it definitely helps with those long draw distances and whatnot. And then also, just the details up close, like these rocks look really flat. They don't really look like a pretty texture. You turn these on, there's a lot more definition to them. They look a lot more defined and real, I guess you could say. So honestly, you can mess around with these as you please, but this is generally how I like to keep things because they're a good balance for indoor and outdoor, as well as night raids, which, you know, night raids, you can kind of manipulate the system a little bit, crank the brightness up and shit, but this is designed in a way to not really give you an unfair advantage. You're not going to have, like, night vision because of these settings or anything. It's just going to give you a little more contrast and a little more saturation and color correction and whatnot. But those are the settings that I rock. I've watched several YouTube videos from people that really grind hard on this game, like Pestily and whatnot, and took the things that I really liked from each one of their settings and incorporated them into my own gameplay. And this is what I ended up with. So hopefully these settings work for you guys. Please share your settings down in the description below, or the comment section, Vice. And that way you guys can all get an idea for how everyone's playing, and you can mess around and find those sweet fine-tuned settings for your gameplay. Alright guys, peace.